but I do want to ask you top 5 intros from any cartoon or animation for you. So, you know, intro music is always good. So I want to know, what is your top 5 intros that you've seen on shows or that you like, man, I like that intro.
Oh wow. Top five intro. Top five.
It doesn't have to be
That's
in
a tough
order.
one.
It could be just so you know. It doesn't have to
I
be
mean,
just,
you know, I mean, again, I have a personal attachment to the static intro.
of course. Yeah.
You know, because it's just showing him and his life, and it's got that. I mean, and back then, you didn't have hip hop theme songs.
Not at all. Not at all.
You know,
Yeah.
that was the only one. And I love the Clone Wars opening, but that's just because that takes me back to my childhood when you got that, you know, that Star Wars crawl.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, if there's another three, I don't know. I should have done some homework.
But then it would have been too scripted. I like it. I like it being on the fly. Well, if you can't think of any other 3, that 2 is good enough. We'll go with those 2. All right. So you are on record saying that you are more of a comic book reader than anything. And I do want to get, so it doesn't have to be like top, like best comic book, but what are some of your most prized comic books that you refer back to, that you'll go back and
Okay, this one I can answer.
yeah.
Well, I mean, you see, I got my DC Comics classics back there. One that I always go back to is the original 1939 Batman story, because those images are burned into my memory and just embody, you know, dark pulp action to me. Back when he had the guns.
Right.
You know? But more recent, something like, because I have a long box that is just my greatest hits comics that, you know, either I will refer to people. It's like, here, you need to read this. And the main ones are American Flag, which was this sci-fi, you know, comic in the 80s set in a dystopian, you know, Earth in, I think it's about 7 years from now, where the writer and artist Howard Chaykin, like, he called so many things that are happening now,
Right.
like the climate change. You know, he back in 1983, he's like, they got a Chicago where the winter goes for 6 months and can't nobody grow nothing, so there's a food crisis, and everybody lives in a mall, but the mall is covered in screens, you know, and the main character is Reuben Flagg, who used to be an actor on a cop show, but they got enough of his character digitally that they said, okay, we don't need you anymore. We're just going to use the digital version to do the rest of the show. You're fired. And so then he went off and became an actual cop.
Right.
You know, and so I love it because it's funny, it's great action, it's a little dirty. So when I was 14, I'm like, I can't believe I'm reading this. My other ones are New Teen Titans, the introduction of Cyborg, Raven, Starfire, that version of Teen Titans, you know, which I just love. And I love the fact that it's still, you know, present in culture today.
Yeah.
You know, let's see, what are my other ones? Dark Knight, you know, just because to me, that was what took Batman away from the campy, goofy, back to that original 1939 badass.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, wait, is that 5 or is that 4?
That was 4. We got one more.
And the other one is actually I'm thinking about which graphic novel trades I hand off to people.
Yeah.
I get tied for 5. We got Kingdom Come.
Okay.
Which I'm hoping somebody will do a version of now that they have the technology.
Right.
And that they don't mess it up. And Oh wait, what was it? Oh shoot, I just lost it. I had it. It was Kingdom Come. Oh, and Fables,
Oh, okay.
which is not a big, hip, cool thing. Nobody's done a movie version of it. But you want to talk about world building.
Yeah.
I just love that on a concept level where they took these things that we all know, all these fairy tales, and then turned it into this world and these characters, and it was just such a full world. Although I guess, I don't know, maybe there was a lawsuit or something about whether Once Upon a Time was based on Fables.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, I believe I know it was a lot of debate online, like, oh, that's what it was, but yeah, I don't know if it was a lawsuit or not, but yeah.
But and the truth of the matter is, people, I don't know, I think it has to do with the internet, and people forget that time, changes things. Because when you look on the internet, it looks like everything is all there at once.
Yeah.
But not everybody can see everything at once. Sometimes people just take in the same stimulus and come up with the same idea.
Right, because I was going to say that's not a foreign idea to say, hey, let's take this property that is.
Well, yeah. What if fairy tales were in the modern world? Yeah. That's that concept.
Yeah.
Anybody could think of that.
Yeah. So
I mean, I got into a whole thing with some friends of mine about this controversy over the Oscar-winning short, Two Distant Strangers. And there's this woman who had another short, about the same concept. Like, and again, to me, that's like, okay, we all turn on the news and see a black man getting shot every single damn day. And it's like the same thing over and over and over. Yeah. It doesn't take a genius intellect to connect that to the movie Groundhog Day.
That's literally like, oh man, this is Groundhog. Like, it's so easy to put those two together. So it's like,
right.
People can have the same thought. It's just like, and I think that when it comes down to it, I think it's just because of success. When people see something successful that they had the same idea, like, oh man, that was my idea. And it's like, no, we could have had the same thought, man. Like, it's like, that's
right. It's like, I thought of that before I saw them get an Oscar for it, so It's mine. And it's funny because I literally had this experience back when we were on Mad TV. I had a character, Funky Walker, Dirty Talker. Who was this dude from the 70s with a big afro, talking about sex and funkiness and all that, baby.
Right.
And we shot the sketch. Actually, one of the writers had pitched it to me, and the year before. Yep. And I was like, no, I ain't gonna be no black man walking around shaking my butt. And I literally turned it down.
Right.
But then over the summer, I was like, that would actually be funny. And then I went back to the writer, and he's like, wait, what? He didn't even remember the sketch.
Right.
Like, no, you pitched me this sketch. And I told you that it was racist. I disagree now.
Right.
I think it would actually be funny. And so we'd had that a year before. We did the sketch, shot it, but now Mad TV didn't air live. Mm-hmm. We would shoot stuff, and it would be like a month or two before it would air. The week after we shot it, Ladies Man aired on SNL.
I knew Ladies Man.
I was just like, what the hell?
You start checking, who's micing me up?
Right. And it's one of those things like, okay, black dude with a 70s vibe, talking sexy. It's like, yeah, I don't own that.
And it's funny. It's funny because it's like he literally said, I'm sexy talking. Like, the Ladies Man, he literally says that. So it's like, that's the whole premise. That's hilarious.